Welcome to the CareFinity version 4.1 upgrade configuration training. My name is Shauna Wilburn, and I'm going to be taking you through the configuration options that you have available in your brand new upgraded version of CareFinity. So the very first thing that we have to check and confirm is that we have at least one administrator within the practice. Everything that we're going to cover in this session requires that you have administrative privileges within the CareFinity application to be able to access the needed menus and configuration options that you have available to you. So how we can double check this is we can look on our log into CareFinity and look on our left-hand toolbar for the option for administration. If you have the administration option, that means you're an administrator. Congratulations, and you have everything you need to continue forward with the configuration of CareFinity, and you'll be able to access everything that we're going to review in this session. If you are an administrator and you do not see this option on your toolbar, please contact your CareFinity upgrade engineer, and they will be able to set your privileges or set your role in CareFinity to be an administrator and give you the rights and privileges you need to continue with the training session today and be able to make the changes or have the opportunity to review and make the changes within your CareFinity application. Once we've confirmed that you have the administration menu, we're going to go ahead and dive in and look at some of the new options that we have available in the application. The very first new feature that I'd like to review with you today is probably one of the most requested options that we've had in CareFinity, and that is role-based security. This is an exciting new offering that we have available, and I'm going to walk you through how you can configure and set this up for your team. So the first thing to note is we're going to look at both the manage users and the manage roles options under the administration panel in CareFinity. So manage users is where we're going to go to manage our end users. This is going to be the place where we have the opportunity to set passwords, create logins, and most importantly for this discussion, the manage users window is where you're going to assign the role for that particular end user. Now, manage roles, we're also going to take a look at this menu today. And manage roles is where we set the actual privileges and choices that the end user is going to have available within the application. So let's take a look at manage roles. Manage roles is where you're going to define the options that you have for each of your end users. Now, out of the box, CareFinity is deployed with two default roles. We have the administrator role, and then we have the end user role. You are an administrator because you are in this menu doing the work that we're doing today. End users will not see the administration menu on their left-hand toolbar, among potentially other things as well, depending on how we configure it. So when you're looking at roles within your practice, you have a couple of different options. You can edit the role that we have made available to you with the upgrade and keep it very simple with just the two roles, end user and admin. That would work fantastic for your organization if you want every end user logging into CareFinity to have the same set of rights and privileges within the application. However, if you need more of a hierarchy, if you want some users to be able to print and export items from CareFinity, and then you want others not to be able to print and export items from CareFinity, just as an example, you would need two end user roles, an end user with print, an end user without print. And so we can handle that or accommodate that in either condition, whether you want to edit the end user or whether you might like to create a new role. To create a new role, you would click the plus sign to create a role. You would name it and give it the end user options that you would like it to have. To edit a role, we're going to click the edit button here on the right-hand side of the screen. No matter what option you choose, create role or edit role, you're going to get the same screen to work from. So for today's example, we're just going to edit the end user role. So out of the box, we have two new features that I'm going to highlight for you within the security privileges of the role-based security. One is print patient data, and the other is export documents. These are two of the most highly requested items that we've had within the CareFinity application over the years, and super excited to be able to make this available to all of our end users. So for this particular role, these users will be able to print and export because those options are checked. If you did not want the user to be able to print or export, you could uncheck the options and click Save. The user does have to log out and log back in for these rights and privileges to take effect. Same thing here is you also have the ability to restrict the view of various users. So possibly if you have some users that are logging in only to export documents and they do not need to review any of the clinical data, you could take away the view of those items by just unchecking those values. So you uncheck the value, the user logs out, logs back in. You could test this by creating a login if you would like, and confirm that you have the role configured as you would like for it to be. So export and print are two of the new features that have been added, as well as the ability for administrators to be able to configure and maintain these roles however you see fit. Once you have the role configured and these are all set up as you would like, you will go into Manage Users. You can search, scroll, page, however you choose to locate the record that you want to change. And then the key thing is that you're going to click the Edit button for the user that you would like to update. If you create new roles, you must update the user and assign those new roles because, as I shared, out of the box with the upgrade, everybody's going to be assigned the end user role. So if you create a new role like read only or something like that, you would have to assign that through the edit button to each of your users. So when you open that update user window, or when you open that user window, you're going to come right here to role and make your changes. This is the field where you're going to add or apply the role. Like I said, out of the box, end user is applied. But if I want to change that, you can use the drop down, and anything that you've configured under roles will be available here to select and apply to the end user. I'd be very careful not to do anything with their password or make any other changes. Just save the role change, and then the end user would, other than possibly new buttons or something that comes with the role change, they would never notice that a change was made. So role-based security is a new feature, and you have the opportunity to really tailor this to your own clinic's needs by using a combination of the manage roles and the manage user option under administration. You also have a new option under the patient as itself. So today and for years, as you've had CareFinity, when you open a patient record in CareFinity, the system natively defaults to the dashboard. And that is how it will work post-upgrade as well, because we really want a seamless transition with the upgrade, or as seamless as possible, to where everything still is comfortable. Although it has a new look and feel, it's very comfortable to your end users. But we do have a new option called the timeline view. And the timeline view is displaying a lot of the same information as the dashboard or any of the chart windows. It's just displaying this information based on a calendar view or a timeline view. So if you look at this information and you want to drill into any of these options, you can do that by clicking on these buttons. But really, for the purpose of the configuration course, the item that I would like to highlight is when you open the patient record in CareFinity, you now have the option to determine what the system defaults to. Option 1 is the dashboard, what it's always defaulted to, and this will be the default upon upgrade. This is how the system would be set. But if you would like to change your particular instance of CareFinity to default to the timeline view, you can do that as well through an administration configuration option. So where we would do that is we'd first go to administration, and then we would go to manage practice config. So just to recap, I'm going to first go to administration, and then I'm going to go to manage practice config, and then I'm going to take a look at the patient default page. From here, I can use this drop down to change from the dashboard to the timeline view if I would like to make an adjustment to how the record opens in CareFinity. And also, please note this comment right here at the top. A user must log out and back in for these changes to take effect. So once I make a change, if I pick timeline view or make an adjustment here, I need to scroll to the bottom of the page and save my configuration, log out, log back in, and I will see that change take effect. On the patient, we also have one additional option that you can take advantage of. In your header here, you have great demographic information, contact information, and other information listed here. You also have this little icon here to toggle the other information window. So when I click the toggle, it's going to toggle this window here under other information back and forth from the primary screen to the secondary screen. On this secondary screen, you have the opportunity to default 3 demographic fields of your choosing, of your practice choosing. This is a practice level setting, just like the patient default that we just reviewed, the dashboard or the timeline view. Both of these are practice level settings, so any changes are made, they're made for everyone in the entire practice. You can see I have linked my preferred pronoun here as one of my 3 fields. I could put another field in and another field if I would like it, up to 3. I can have 3 custom fields here in the new CareFinity application. So out of the box, most likely yours is going to be blank when you click that toggle button. And don't be alarmed about that. This toggle button is going to be there regardless, but if you don't have anything configured, when you toggle to the set of 3, it's just going to be blank. And that's intentional out of the box because we would love to link up the 3 demographics fields that would be most helpful to you, whether that might be preferred pronoun, whether that might be PCP information, whether that might be information on the pharmacy address, whatever it might be, we can link those 3 fields in for you. So all you have to do, if you would like 1, 2, or 3 fields linked in, email support@medtechsolutions.com and just let us know what fields you would like linked in, and that ticket will get routed to your upgrade engineer, and we can get those 3 fields linked up for you behind the scenes in your CareFinity build, and we would love to do that for your organization. And the last and final feature that I would like to give you information about today is renaming any of these component headers. So as you see, diagnosis, allergies, medication, visits, labs, orders, so on and so forth, you see those headers here on the dashboard. And if I open up the patient record, you'll also see that you see those same headers here on the left-hand toolbar. And in the patient timeline as well, you also see those headers. They're present in 3 areas of the application. If you would like to make any changes to this terminology to make it more user-friendly or more accommodating to your staff, you certainly have the opportunity to do that, again, through the administration configuration options that you have available to you. This would be a practice level change and would change for all users within your application in all 3 areas of the system, the dashboard, the timeline, and the left-hand navigation. So to make this change, we'll first go to administration, and then we'll choose manage global settings. From here, we will use the drop-down and choose menu item alias. Now, if you were following along with me, you probably noticed that my screen said diagnosis, but your screen most likely said problems, because problems is what the CareFinity application installs and upgrades with, whereas I've already set an override for diagnosis here for my particular application. So if you'd like to make a change, you can choose create setting. And that will allow you to add a row to this area of the system and put in a change for your practice. So let's say I wanted to choose allergies, and I preferred that this area of the system on the dashboard, the timeline, and the left-hand navigation said allergen. I can simply type in the setting value that I would like to display for allergies or any of the other choices that you have, and choose Save. Log out, log back in the application, and you would immediately see this change effective for all users. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete mine because I don't need to add another one. I already have one example set up in my application, but I wanted to illustrate to you that's how you would add that custom content to your CareFinity application. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today for the configuration session. As we went through the windows, especially in the manage roles where you had choices to make for each of your individual users and potentially items on the left-hand navigation toolbar, you may have seen some varying differences between what I was displaying and what you see in your application. Please don't panic. That is absolutely normal. We have three versions or three flavors of CareFinity that we offer. There's CareFinity Downtime, there's CareFinity Archive, and then there's CareFinity Live Archive. And each of these versions or flavors of CareFinity offer different options to the end users based on the objective that they are working to complete or the problem they're looking to solve for your organization. So you may see varying differences. If you ever have a question about that or are concerned in any way, never hesitate to reach out to support@medtechsolutions.com. We'd be more than happy to investigate and just confirm that everything is good within your system. But otherwise, I did want to let you know that you could see variances, and those are absolutely normal just because of the differences between the different applications. Well, it's certainly been a pleasure to be with you today. If there's anything more that we can do, please do not hesitate to email us at support@medtechsolutions.com. We'd be happy to help with any questions. But other than that, I hope you really enjoy your CareFinity upgrade, and thank you for allowing us to serve your organization.